cost of living continues to soar.
The cost of living crisis.
Cost of living pressures are hitting Victorians hard.
Skyrocketing cost of living.
I'm probably spending over 2/3 of my income on just bills.
An alarming number of Aussies right now are feeling the pain due to the ongoing cost of living crisis, to the point where more than half of Aussies are only making ends meet. And whilst with the current cost of living crisis going on, it can seem like you're falling behind financially. However, there are subtle signs that actually prove the opposite, even if it doesn't feel that way. So in today's video, we're going to be discussing what those subtle signs are and figuring out if they apply to you or not. You have an emergency fund in place of at least $2,000. Over 45% of Australians are unable to afford a $1,000 emergency expense. I think having double of that in a high yield savings account for emergencies shows me that you're probably doing better than most people. Now, ideally, you'd have around 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses saved up just in case things don't go your way. However, having at least $2,000 will get you ahead of 50% of Australians. The next subtle sign is that you actually talk about money. 56% of Australians believe talking about finances with others is considered taboo. Most of us spend the best days of our lives and the best years of our lives working for money, but then we never actually talk about it. We're kind of ashamed about it, and it's generally something that you don't talk about to other people. But if you're open and honest and you surround yourself with people who you can actually talk about money with, then you're going to be in a much better spot financially and you'll be on the right path. You can then ask questions, learn from them, and others can learn from you as well. I know for me, when I found friends that I could talk to about my finances and my goal of becoming financially independent, that really motivated me and I learned a lot from them. On the flip side, whenever I had any worries about my financial situation, it also really helped that I had people that I could lean on and talk to about. Now, I haven't always had people that I could talk to about money. Back during the COVID-19 lockdowns in Melbourne, I was actually laid off, and it was actually the first video that I ever uploaded onto this channel. The financial stress that I experienced from losing my job was immense, especially since I had just moved out of home for the first time, so my expenses went up whilst my income went down. And it was definitely a low point that I had never experienced before. And in the midst of it, I really didn't have anyone I could talk to about it. And so I kind of did something that I never thought I would. I actually sought out therapy to actually talk through what I was going through and get an outside perspective. So if you are feeling financially stressed about your situation and don't have someone to talk to, that's where the sponsor of today's video, BetterHelp, can help you out. They make starting therapy much less intimidating. You can choose to have your sessions over phone, video, chat, or even messaging if that's more comfortable for you. BetterHelp has a huge network of over 30,000 licensed therapists, so they can match you with someone who specializes in exactly what you're dealing with. If you're dealing with financial stress, then there's someone there who can talk to you about it. The sign-up process is extremely easy. You just simply fill out a questionnaire about what you're going through and what you're looking for, and they simply match you up with a therapist, usually within 48 hours. And if you don't click with your therapist, then no worries. They'll swap you out with someone new at no extra cost to you. No matter what you guys are facing in your life right now, you don't have to go through it alone. Remember to invest in yourself and your mental health. And on the topic of investing into yourself, if you're doing that, then that's another sign that you're probably doing better than what you might think you are. As the saying goes, you have to spend money to earn money, unless it's your friend trying to get you into his pyramid scheme. Even if you're not investing into assets like stocks and real estate, investing in yourself is probably, if not more important. With a limitless amount of online courses, educational videos, and books online, you can level up your skills and knowledge to get that next big promotion at work. Paying your bills on time. The reality is that nearly 2/3 of Australians are struggling to pay for their bills on time during this cost of living crisis. So if you're able to pay for your electricity, rent, food, and other stuff without taking on additional debt, then you're doing pretty well. Most people need to choose which bills to pay for that month, which leads to a whole other bunch of issues like late payment fees and lower credit scores. Reports found that over $14 billion in credit card late payment fees were paid in 2019, and my guess is that number is way higher now. So if you are consistently paying all of your bills on time at the end of the month and not incurring any bad debt, and if you can continue to either raise your income through investing in yourself or reducing your expenses, then you'll be able to start saving and progressing in your own financial journey. And it probably means that you're avoiding the secret inflation that we'll talk about at the end of the video. You actually follow financial content creators. You watch financial content, listen to podcasts and read books, or listen to audiobooks. Then chances are that's another sign that you're doing better than you expected. Oh, and remember to like this video and subscribe to my channel. On a more serious note, did you know that only 58% of Australians have an average financial literacy? Even if you're new to this whole money and personal finance thing, by still making the effort to learn, naturally as you consume and immerse yourself in the world of personal finance and money, the more financially aware you'll become in your everyday life. As you start to take action on those things that you're learning and then applying that to your real life, you'll start to see things really turn around for you financially. Oh, and by the way, if you want to build a wealthier and healthier life, make sure to subscribe to my free weekly newsletter. Links will be down below. You have a financial plan. It's so much easier to make progress when you have a plan in place. Your plan could be written in a post-it note or an extensive Excel sheet which models out every computation possible. Regardless, having some sort of plan is better than having no plan at all, because at that point you start switching from short-term thinking to long-term thinking. I started saving when I had my first full-time job at 22, and my plan was to save $100,000, and after 5 years, I finally achieved that. And since then, I've created new goals and have continued to work towards those. If you're someone who doesn't impulse buy or upgrade, then that's probably another good sign that you're doing pretty good. This is kind of the era of upgrades. There's always a new phone, a new laptop, a new car, or new clothes. There is pretty much always something that you could buy that is new and improved. And if you're able to stop yourself from making those impulse purchases, then you're on the right track financially. What I found helpful is following the 72-hour rule. Whenever you see something non-essential that you want, simply wait 72 hours before you purchase it. Oftentimes the wait itself turns off the impulse in your brain to want to make that purchase. And oftentimes you also come to the realization that you actually don't need that item anyway. This is the first step towards living below your means and segues nicely into the last sign, which is that you avoid lifestyle inflation. This is probably the biggest killer for most people. When people make more money, they generally get nicer things. They rent a nicer apartment, they buy a nicer car, go out to eat more often. Over the years, my income has definitely gone up over time. And every time you get more money, you're like, oh, maybe we could go out to dinner more often, or maybe we could rent out a nicer apartment. It is so tempting, and I know that there are people out there who are earning $50,000 who are living paycheck to paycheck, but also people who are making $200,000 a year and also living paycheck to paycheck. And it's because the more you make, the more you kind of have to show off that you're actually being successful. But if you're okay with being someone who doesn't show off to everybody and don't keep up with the Joneses, then you're probably in a better financial spot than you probably think you are. So after watching this video, hopefully you guys have come to the realization that you're probably doing better than you are financially. After all, you're watching this video, so you've definitely got one of those signs ticked off. And if you guys want to consume more personal finance content to help you get ahead in life, then YouTube suggests you watch this video right here.